The day has finally come to leave the Gold Coast and head for the mighty Murray River and start this epic voyage. The first day launch directly below the Hume Weir and the trip starts. At an ex-Lake Eildon houseboat that came out of Darlingford Waters Marina. Another one of the highlights of a trip was catching up with this character, Sean Montgomery, a great friend when I was in the Eildon Ski Club. We had lots of beers together back then, and how we both aged, but great to catch up. Now this section just below Corowa, the river splits into two, and it obviously varies, depends on how much water is in the river. This part on the left, which was the correct way to go that I took, the river closed into almost a creek. I was pushing over logs, pushing over sandbars. I finally got through. Man, that was hard work. I raced through Bundalong on a bit of speed to try and get through Lake Mulwala to catch up with my mate Burge, who was going to ship me across. Crossing Lake Mulwala on a windy day in a small boat, that's hard work too, but it's all part of the adventure. At this point, I needed to be ported across Lake Yarrawonga back to the Murray River. There is no lock at this part of a river, so my mate Burge from Bendigo turned up to save the day and join me for a week of fun. met a couple of lovely ladies at Cobram on their camper craft, camped on the banks of a river, and they told me I had to check out strawberry fields. Man, this place is different, and I'm sure the festivals go off. So this next section is going through the Barmah Forest. On my own for a few days at the moment, since Rodney had to get off the river and go find a new prop. The value of a prop guard, should have had one, I told him. Anyway, Barmah Forest, went through the Narrows. It's in the book. It was a bit intimidating, but it was nothing compared to what I found after Corowa. That was intimidating and scary. Then on to Barmah, where Rob, Donna and Ray could finally get their boat in the water because it was finally deep enough. Just after Echuca, dropped into Deep Creek Marina, caught up with one of Rob's friends, Corowa, and spent a couple of nights on a houseboat. As we came in, the heavens opened just as we got off the boats. How lucky were we? We stayed dry and had a couple of luxury nights not camping on the banks. This is a point where we leave Deep Creek Marina after having 2 luxury nights with Corowa on her beautiful houseboat. Fantastic, and thank you for having us. This is also the point where Donna is heading back to work and my sister Jo is going to come along and join us. This is the first lock we go through, Lock 26. In this part of the trip, we've got the 3 boats. We've got the pontoon boat, my cousin Rob, my sister Jo, and her husband Ray. Then we've got Rod in his little yellow rocket, and then we've got the Omnium boat that I'm doing the whole trip on. This is where we meet Bob from Barham. What a character. Bob rebuilt this paddle boat. He's a little 4-cylinder Nissan diesel motor in it, and he absolutely loves it. Not only has he got this, he bought the old mechanics business in town, and that's where he lives. Now that house, it's almost a museum by itself. And again, some of the lovely people you meet on the river. Bob gave us a tour of the boat and the house.
Mate, I'll probably have you stand, I'll go sit up and show.
Coming into Murrabit, we caught up with Dave and Cheryl, who were travelling Australia in their caravan, and they'd propped on the side of the river to have the night with us. The only problem there with the low river, there was so much mud, we actually had to shovel the boat ramp down first, just so we could get ashore. But when we did, we were rewarded with lunch and a beer, and that's where we spent the night. The daily routine for camp setup was to unload the boat. The gear used was a stretcher tent set up on a ground sheet, so when you got up in the middle of the night you didn't stand in the dirt and you kept your bed clean. In the tent we had a foam mattress, a sleeping bag and a pillow, and we also then had our chair. So there was 4 or 5 things we set up every night, and then in the morning we had to pack up accordingly. So most days we only cruised along at about 10 to maybe 13 kilometres an hour. The trip wasn't about racing down the river, the trip was about enjoying it. But whether we went between 10 to 13 or even at high speed, our fuel consumption did not change a lot. So part of our daily routine, if it was hot, we'd look for a nice sandy bank to make great swimming spots, and then we just enjoyed a couple of quiet beers while we cruised down. But one of the important tips, when you've got a fridge in the boat and you've got beers in the fridge, if you're changing them over and adding, just pop the time on them, so then when you know you pull one out, you know it's ice cold.
Here we are on the banks of the Murray.
Nice, easy day today.
Very easy. We did about 60k.
Oh, just out the road a little bit, yeah. Out of Warrenane, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a moment down at 9.
No. Yeah, 600, yeah.
Oh, one around.
Yeah, good.
If you do your homework, there's actually quite a lot of fuel reasonably close to a river, but it is important to have a collapsible trolley. The boat carried about 120 litres in total, and the 2 jerry cans sufficed perfectly for the whole trip. We rang Bev to check on the Beveridge Island passage in regards to the cables the book talks about from the punt. The cable's no longer there, and Bev actually told us someone had even stolen the punt. But it is a great piece of river that you could get almost any boat through. It's nice and deep and clear. Lots of people followed the trip either by boat, by car, or just by Facebook. Here's my sister and brother-in-law. After I got out the boat, they went and got their Tommy camper 4-wheel drive and followed us down the river a little way. And Dave and Cheryl are still chasing me, but fantastic to catch up. Coming into Tooleybuc, we're a bit worried. The skies were looking pretty dark and the forecast was predicting some pretty big rains. As it turned out, Melbourne got smashed. About 100,000 homes without power. We weren't so bad up where in Tooleybuc, and we hid in the pub, but we set up camp at the bridge keeper's cottage and avoided the wind and the rain all night. Bit cheeky, but it worked well.